related stuff wasn't on the list. I guess maybe what could have happened there, if you'll allow me some speculation, I guess maybe what happened there is some people were answering this questionnaire, Chapman Universities, who did the survey, by the way. Maybe people viewed those as, well, duh, or givens, right? Maybe that's what happened there, because I was surprised people's children didn't necessarily come on that list, come up on that list. Again, here's your top 10 this last year. Not having enough money for the future, cyber terrorism, biological warfare, pollution of drinking water, which I think that could, is, well, not cyber terrorism, but some terrorism, some biological warfare could be done with the drinking water, so you could kind of like lump all them together. People I love dying, people I love becoming seriously ill, the U.S. becoming involved in another war was on the list. It's literally going to happen. Russia using nuclear weapons. Again, the Russia-Ukraine thing had been dominating headlines a lot this last year, so I'm willing to bet that's what led people to answering that way. Economic and financial collapse of the nation, and number one was corrupt government officials, and I've said this maybe more than once, and I'm going to stand by it. I don't believe that at all. If it was, people would vote differently. If you were that concerned about it, we would take action into our hands and prove once and for all they work for us, and we are done with you lying to our faces about what it is you're going to do, and we're done being lied to about how you're the nice party going to pick everybody up off the ground, and we're done with you telling us that it's just bootstrap pull and that's all it's going to take. We are done. Get out. And if that's what we were really concerned about, that's what we would do. But it ain't what we do. And so I don't believe that's people's number one concern. Is it on the list? Sure. WWE going to be in town. That's November 18th. WWE's main event. We'll get caller 15 in right now. 330-450-7625 on those, or toll free at 800-243-7625 on those WWE tickets. Next on the Stansberry Show, I told you this was coming to social media, and it's here now.
To all the teachers who said he'd never amount to anything.
That is correct.
Lucky guess. The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Shout out to Jay Schaefer out of New Philly. Jay won his way into WWE's main event, that on November 18th, Canton Civic Center, and I'll have tickets for you tomorrow on the show as well. We'll do those all week. I guess that means tomorrow and Friday. Wednesday already. Still to come are Tim Dillon tickets. By the end of this hour, I'll get you in to see Tim Dillon at MGM Northfield Park there. That show's January 14th, and by the end of the hour, I'll give you your tickets. Part of my job is making prediction, right? And I have said because of that, I am not all that concerned if I get something wrong. Like, I don't feel like when people say, oh, you thought this was going to happen, it didn't happen. Like, I don't view that as an own, because I have to make a lot of predictions for some of the conversations we are going to, right? And expecting 100% accuracy out of somebody who's making speculation or prediction is really kind of nuts, right? But I've also said that if I get something right, I'm going to dance around about it, tell you how right I was. And if I get it wrong, I feel like I'm a little bit better than some others, not maybe everybody, but some others, about coming in here and going, yeah, man, kind of got that one screwed up. Let's look at how bad I messed this up, right? And I'm, of course, setting this up for I was right about something. And I was. Now, this was not hard to see. All you needed to do to predict this was look in the past and realize anything that was popular would end up being sold because of its popularity, right? It's valuable if it's popular. I'm talking now of social media. And I said 5 years ago, and since then 100 times, pay to play is coming to the internet. And everybody's like, no, it won't. But it is, though, right? I mean, Elon already took a couple of the shots to the chest with X, and, you pay for your, solidified account or whatever the hell it is, and you do all that. People snickered at it, right? Meta's following suit, but a little bit differently. Meta owns Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and Threads, and I guess I should tell you my Facebook is at Stansberry Show. Instagram and Threads, that account got stolen, so I had to start new ones. Dan.Stansberry there. I'm going to come up with one universal, and I'll get them all changed into one. I've actually been thinking about that over the last couple of days. I just got to create something and do it. I bring it up because now this is going to be Europe first, but you know how this works. They're going to pick a market, they're going to soft open it, and then next thing you know, it's going to be rolled out. Facebook is bringing out a pay-for-play model. Now, it's not the only model. It's not going to be a requirement, but what they're saying is they will give you ad-free timelines, commercial-free timelines, for about $11 a month is what this is going to be. Now, I've said forever, of course this is coming. How often are you scrolling social media sites while you're pretending to watch something on a streaming service you paid more than this for? A lot. I do it. I can't be the only one that does it. Now, because I do it doesn't mean this is how everybody consumes things, but I feel like more than enough of us are out there doing it. We can't even stand still in a line and be patient for 3 minutes while somebody else checks out in front of us without reaching for that phone. That's valuable. You know why cocaine costs a lot of money? Because of how bad people want it. Because they're addicted to it. You don't think you're addicted to that phone? Really? Leave your house tomorrow without it. Right? Now, is that addiction, or is it damn near today's society requires you to have it with you at all times? Fair enough. Fair enough. But apparently over in Europe there, several pricing plans for Meta were discussed, but €10 per month is the plan that they claim is most feasible. Other sources said it will be implemented in the next coming months. The proposal is an attempt by Meta to comply with European Union regulations that threaten to curb its ability to personalize ads for users without their consent and hurt its major revenue source. Targeted ads are what those are called. So they're going to offer you a choice between a free ad-supported plan and a paid subscription, and they think here this may lead users opting for the former, and they're looking to help Meta comply with regulations without affecting its ad business. Now, again, I've told you before, entertainment only works off of two models. These are the only way thus far in society this has worked. Either you pay for access to the thing, or companies pay for your access to the thing so they can have access to you. That's it. That's all there is. There's no in between. What about just racking up the views and monetize? Well, right, but who's going to pay you for having the views? It's companies. That's who's going to do it. And the tricky thing is, advertisement was baked into television. It was part of the conversation of it. We just kind of knew it. And so when product placement kind of came into TV, and it happened way before people think it did. I mean, just go back and watch Back to the Future a little bit. That camera just gets real still on some of those logos, man. Just real still when those logos came up. Now you'd be like, oh my God, look at them, just now capitulating to the big dollar. But it's like, it's been happening your entire life. You just didn't think about it. But it was baked into movies. It was baked into television. The thing about the internet, man, is that it was the Wild West for the longest time, and the only place you saw a bunch of advertising was on the porn sites. That was it. The social media didn't necessarily have a ton of that, but now they're going to. By the way, Meta owns the biggest platforms you use, I'm going to guess. Again, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Snapchat's big for a lot of people. WhatsApp is theirs. So this is going to eventually affect everything. Absolutely everything. Looking at Europe, since this is where this is going to roll out. Share of advertising revenue from different regions. About 25% in June of this year in Europe is about where that sits. They say on mobile devices, the price for a single account would jump up to roughly €13. Again, because they're starting with one price and then they're going to continuously raise it, just like Netflix does, just like all these other services does. Because what's going to happen? If you sign up for an ad-free version of social media, what are you going to do? You're going to set a reoccurring payment. Now, I think one of the things that should maybe have to happen here is when a price change happens, you should have to re-enroll for that reoccurring payment. Now, why nobody's going to like that is because now I got to remember my password. Now I got to log in. Why are you doing this to me? Just let me watch the thing, right? Yada, 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 fine print. I don't care. Show me Steve Carell in The Office, right? Like that's what's, but if you really think about it, anytime a major change to how much you're being charged for anything happens, you should have to re-enter into the reoccurring payment. I like that idea, but I know a lot of people won't. And again, in comparison, they say here to Netflix, they charge about €8 there for in Europe for a basic subscription plan. Google and YouTube Premium, that's €12 over there. Spotify's premium service is priced at about €11. It's one of the reasons why you're hearing iHeartRadio say free never sounded so good, and we're right about it. Free never sounded so good. There is a easy reason, simple reason why I am hesitant, even though I'm addicted to social media like everybody else, why I'm hesitant to pay for an ad-free experience on social media. And it's because I don't think it's even plausible to show me an ad-free experience on social media. And I'll explain why I'm right next on the Stansbury Show.
It's cool when you get up and you feel instantly connected to the world.
The Stansbury Show.
I don't know what it is. I got them on every morning.
On Rock 106.9.
9 a.m., grab that $1,000 you need. We'll get you paid out. We're rocking the bank all day, and that first keyword gets passed out just over a half hour from right now on Rock 106.9 with me. We have been talking about money, I suppose, a little bit here, as we found out through some information yesterday, or the last couple of days rather, that Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram and Threads and all of that, is over in Europe, reacting to some new regulations over there, and they're going to offer up an ad-free timeline for you, and it'll be about just under $11 US money from what I understand, with the conversion rate and all of that. And I had predicted this was coming, and it didn't take a rocket scientist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not sitting here going, look, I'm brilliant because I saw this coming. It's like it was popular. Wildfire. Everybody uses it, meaning valuable. So sooner or later, somebody was going to be like, what are we doing here? Right? And targeted ads have become a huge part of, selling things these days in commerce, right? And a lot of people think it's like, my phone's listening to me. And it is. But I also think a lot of that targeted ad stuff, people don't realize how many things you're putting in a search bar every day. You just don't realize it, man. It's like snacking. You know what I mean? Like if I ask people how much did you eat today, they'll go, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what about that Snacks Nice Snickers on the coworker's desk? Hey, remember when you guys went there? Remember when you stopped at the store? Remember that cupcake you got with that drink? Oh, yeah, I did eat that, right? And I think there's search bar issues just like that, too, where it's like, oh, I never looked this up. It's like, yeah, you did, right? Yeah, you did. A lot of times you did. Now, is your phone listening to you, too? Yes. The answer there is yes. So they're going to go for pay for play there over in Europe, again, responding to some regulations over there. And it's about €11 a month there. And it will continuously go up. They have already admitted that. Now, Facebook and Meta, they have more than one product for you, right? They have Facebook and they have Threads and they have Instagram, and maybe you have one, maybe you have all three, maybe you have two of the three, whatever. And essentially, you will be then, once they get this rolling, you will be then charged more money for how many of those you have. And I know what everybody's thinking. Well, if they do that here, I'll just delete it. I want to be off of it anyway, right? I'm just going to guess a large portion of you thought that the moment I started talking about this. And, excuse me. And I'm not saying you don't feel like that, because I kind of feel like that. My question, and I won't say what will happen here. My question will be, is that what we will do? I'm suspicious, no, but you got to remember, I'm a little bit of a pessimist too, right? I talk about this all the time. People will argue glass half full, half empty. And I'm looking at it like, it ain't even half. Let's get some more water in there, right? Like I'm one of those guys, right? And so I'm suspicious that people will not just cough up their addiction because of price. But that's an interesting thing to say, right? Because we have seen raising of cost of addiction-based things has led to less usage, right? How many of you quit smoking cigarettes Not because your family member was on you, not because you were worried about getting sick, not because you were worried about how you're going to smoke when you get to the restaurant or the concert or at work. It was, for a lot of you, not everybody that quit, for a lot of you, it was the money. Right? Like, oh my God, cigarettes are, I don't even know how much they are now. It will be 11 years since I quit come January. So I don't even know what they cost anymore. I mean, I see the signs on the windows at the stores and all that, but I don't pay attention to it because I'm not looking to go in there and buy those. But enough people, plenty of people is what I should say. There are plenty of people have quit smoking cigarettes because of the price. So there will reach a limit, right? And sooner or later, for a lot of you, you're going to have to figure out which money online is worth you spending. Right? You probably got 4 or 5 streaming services, and really, I'm going to guess that a lot of that is about your kids. Which ones do they want to watch their favorite things, right? So a parent could find themselves in the predicament of, well, I need to keep Disney Plus for the kid. And everybody's in my back pocket now looking to grab this coin out from me. So I'm going to give up Meta and save that money so I can keep pumping it into one of the streaming services so my kid, who I value more than me, can continue to watch what they want to watch. I think people could find themselves in that situation. So maybe people are going to walk away like some did with cigarettes. This is true, right? When something's just easily accessible, social media, pick it up, you can just scroll it, and it's not, I mean, yes, people are advertising to you, but it's not costing you essentially money every time you go. That's one of the reasons. Once you put that barrier in there, now people might change their behavior. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But if this won't stop at Europe, this is coming here. Now, what a lot of people are going to say, and some of you already have, and you're not wrong, that why you won't pay for an ad-free version of this is because it's going to start ad-free. But then we know what happens. Once they got you on that payroll, and once you're paying, they sneak this in. What about that? And oh yeah, I noticed that started happening now there too after you told me that was never going to happen. And look at that. And so a lot of people feel like what like Hulu has done and what like a lot of other places have done, where it's like, hey, come and pay us all this money. It'll be ad free. And then next thing you know, you are paying the money. And it's like, yeah, you know what? We have to do this too. Like we have to do this on top of that. So a lot of people are telling me they're going to walk away because they don't believe that it will be ad free. I agree with you. And I think the problem's actually worse than that. Here's why I'd be hesitant, even though I'm addicted, to pay for an ad-free service of social media. It's not because I think commercials are bad. I literally live indoors because of them. I want to know what to buy. I don't mind being advertised to. I like it. I need to know what to buy. I don't know what to buy, right? Help me, right? So I'm all about it. I'm not opposed to commercials at all. It's literally how I stay alive. I'm all about it. My problem is that everything on social media is an advertisement. There's no such thing as ad-free online. Everything's an advertisement. That influencer you love, while he's doing this or she's doing that, it's based off of them trying to get you to go to the person who's helping them with their channel, or this product is using this, and I like to use gold flour when I'm baking these cookies in my kitchen. Everything's an advertisement. All of it. Every last influencer, it's all based on them pushing you to a product, which is fine. That's what I get paid to do too. But why would I pay? Like, it was so, okay, so again, so you're not going to put like the ad from the company in my timeline. Fine. But everybody making their money off the algorithm is literally just a as seen on TV pit. Everybody's Billy frickin' Mays now on social media. Why would I pay you for that?
And you know what that conniving trickery is called?
The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show. I'll rock the bank with you at 9 a.m. Get you paid out with that $1,000 keyword. First of the day, we'll continue all day. I've been talking a little bit about money because social media platform Meta, well, that's the parent company of Facebook and Threads and Instagram and all of that. Over in Europe, they're going to start charging for an ad-free platform. Now, it's not required. You don't have to, elect yourself into it. They do say that if you move into that, it will not then share your information with companies who look to target ad you in other areas. It will stop sharing your data. Right? I don't know I wish I could remember that documentary, what that was, where that guy spent like 3 years and like hundreds of thousands of dollars suing everybody just to get to the end definition of what a company considers your data to be. Like, it's so vague on what it is, and yet it's very valuable. And that's what they're doing is, collecting that and selling it off to somebody who wants to target you, right? And so Facebook says, we'll no longer do that if you give us the money. And it kind of sounds like, well, how do I know that? Right? Like, you can't prove that to me. You can tell me you're going to do that, but like, how do I trust that? I can't, really. And by the way, my data's already been so well exposed by other people. I'm still getting that. How will I see a significant reduction in it? I can't imagine I will when I'm off your platform. When I go somewhere else, I'm still going, right? Like, I don't know if I would notice a significant enough reduction in that. And most of you just seem to think it's like, well, I won't pay for it because in 3 months after I do, they're just going to start sneaking everything back in the way the streamers have. You're right. That's what's going to happen. That's for sure what's going to happen. And I am normally very pessimistic about like whether or not people will take back control or, do that kind of stuff. But I was like, look, we can use cigarettes as an example here, though. Now, I don't think changing of the price and raising of the price is the only reason why people gave up smoking cigarettes at the rate they did. But it for sure helped. You know what I mean? And I had been talking about that. And I said, I was thankful. I don't even know what a price of cigarettes is right now. And Kelly's letting me know $7 a pack for cheap cigarettes. Jeez. And a friend of mine, Serene, let me know that they're paying around $9 a pack. I'm guessing that's a name brand Marlboro Camel type situation there. Man, that seems like a lot. Like, I remember when I first moved to California, I was in my early 20s. I think I might have been all of 21. And I was living in Southern California. Then I decided I was going to move to Northern California to live with a buddy of mine from high school, Nick, who was out there. And we lived in Modesto, the town made famous by Scott Peterson. And sure enough, I was living there. And when I got out of the car, he didn't smoke, I did. I was like, dude, stop at this gas station. I need to get cigarettes. And I was a kid from the Midwest or whatever, and like Northern California was the first place that kind of moved their cigarette pricing. When that guy charged me $4.25 for a pack of cigarettes, then I was like, oh my God, dude, $4? It was like, this is like the end of, this is the end of the line. But sure enough, I smoked another decade or so. And I had quit more than a couple of times over my life. And one time I had 2 years in, and then went out, got drunk with some friends. It was my birthday. Next thing you know, you smoke a cigarette, and I had a carton in my hand the next day. That's how strong that addiction can be. But now, I did walk away from cigarettes, and it wasn't just the money. The money was kind of on the list where it's like, all right, dude, this is getting a little insane. And I think when I was in Oregon when I quit, and I think I paid, I don't know, was it $6.50 or something, I think, a pack, and I was on Camel Crushes then. Because they were cheaper. They were, one of the cheaper options right there. At least then they were. And so I was doing that. And it was really more about not feeling great. And then I just wanted to see, I got hungover the one day. And I was like, all right, let me see how I feel if I don't smoke today. Right? Sometimes you're so hungover, you're like, oh, a cigarette's the worst thing I could ever do. And then I woke up the second day and I was like, well, see if you can go another day now that you're not sick. Like, see. And then I went that day. And so I woke up the third day and I was like, we're out of roll. And I was just like, I'm going to break at some point. But let me see how far I can go. Like I said, January it'll be 11 years. It was just something I just kind of, when you're done, you're done. I'm sure people who have quit other addictions will push back on this, but I kind of feel like for me as a person, it just kind of has to get to that place where I need to be sick of the fact that I'm sick of talking about how I'm sick of it. Sick and tired of being sick and tired, essentially, is what I'm saying there, right? And that's just kind of what happened. A woman did nudge me. A cancer survivor nudged me and had shown me some photos and said, you might want to, think about this or whatever. And she was naked when she did it. So it was like, she's making a lot of sense, man. And so like that's kind of how that went. And it was like, all right, you know what, you're not wrong about this, let me see. And oh my God, Scott's telling me a Camel Crush is $10.30 a pack. Oh my Lord. Sonoma, which I've never heard of, Scott, are $5.17 a pack is what he's telling me. When I was growing up, Basic was literally the off-brand cigarette name. Like, and even then, back then, when we didn't have the money to be buying cigarettes, we would look down our nose like, dude, what are you smoking, Basics? Right? Like, get your life together. It's like, well, we're all wasting money on cigarettes. We should all be getting our life together. Dwayne wants to know, I wonder how much legal weed is going to cost if it passes next week. Oh, I can tell you. It's a ton of money. Way more money than what your friend down the street is going to sell it to you for. Way more. Those dispensaries in Vegas, now welcome to Vegas. Everything's more money there than it would be here. Everything. A pitcher of beer in Vegas could be $50. I know, I paid it. So like that, it can get crazy out there, right? But yeah, no, it's believe me, it's going to be a lot more than what people pay on the street. That's one of those areas, gainfully employed, I make good money, where I'm going to spend that money. I am. I'd be willing to do it just because, like, look, I'm into the product, clearly, right? It's part of what I do. And I like the idea of I can just stop on my way home, get what I want, go home, and avoid the whole thing. No more driving to somebody's house, picking it up, driving home like, oh my God, I hope I don't get caught with this thing that's completely legal where they make the laws in D.C. Oh my God, I hope I don't get caught with this plant that you're allowed to sell in like 33 states. Oh my God, copper, please don't pull me over, right? Like, to get rid of that is worth the price increase to me. And the lines are wrapped around the block in most states where people are buying legal marijuana. So it is a lot more money than what I and some other people can get it for if you're close to some sources in there, and I am. I've made some friends over the years, but it's worth it to me in the sense of sometimes I don't feel like sitting in somebody else's house. Sometimes I don't feel like listening to another 20-minute story. Sometimes I don't feel like doing this or doing that. It's like, just sell me this thing and shut up and let me go home, right? And like there's some of that, and that would be worth money to me. I don't think you're going to see that many people quit because of the cost increase because of legal marijuana. I actually think you're going to see some more people go, oh, I don't have to worry about this with my job anymore. You know what? Let me hit that joint. I think you're more likely to see some of that. I will rock the bank with you. We do have some more killer content right around the corner for you as well. And I do need to get you into Tim Dillon right now, the comedian at MGM Northfield Park. That's on January 14th. I'll take caller 10 at 330-450-7625. Toll free at 800-243-7625. And we'll rock the bank next on Rock 106.9.
He's a man of many talents, but he does not have the talent for keeping quiet.
The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Shout out to Stephen Troyer on his way in to see Tim Dillon. That show on January 14th, MGM Northfield Park. I'll have tickets for you tomorrow and Friday on the show as well. Another opportunity for you to rock the bank and grab $1,000. Do that at 10 a.m. with Teresa. We talked a little bit about money. We started with social media because Facebook and Meta and Instagram and all that, they're going to charge over in Europe for an ad-free timeline. Now, you don't have to enter into it. You can still have the regular timeline, but my guess is if they're charging you for an ad-free timeline, it's also going to be combined with, if you're not paying, get ready for more advertisement in your feed than you're already seeing, right? So we kind of started there. I talked about whether or not people will walk away from it, and I brought up cigarettes because a lot of people did quit smoking cigarettes over the price increase, right? Over that. I don't think it's everybody who quit, and I would imagine people who do quit for more than one reason. I did, right? There was more than one reason. I was making more than enough money to keep buying cigarettes, but it was like, geez, what am I doing here, right? And it was on the list. So we started talking about that. We started talking then about marijuana. Somebody asked me, what do you think is going to happen with that if we legalize? And I said, well, it's going to cost more money. And what I based that on was the dispensaries in Las Vegas where it's way more money. Now I was like, that's a little bit of Vegas. right? Like, you go on the strip, dude, you buy like a pitcher of beer, and I'm just talking like beer. It's $50. Welcome to Vegas. I mean, it's just the way that city works. I also based it on the fact that I went to a panel discussion about a month and a half ago here with the League of Women Voters. You don't have to be a woman, right? Everybody can go to like the discussions. You can even enter the group, from what I understand. And they had a panel discussion about marijuana legalization. And one of the guys on the panel has a CBD dispensary, and he's looking for legalization to come so he can start selling, recreational marijuana, right? And they asked him that. They said, is it going to be more or less money than what people buy on the street? He said, it will be more money. And of course, the government's involved. When has the government ever got involved in anything and made it cheaper? I know they tell you that's what they do, but like, never. Like, not all that often, right? Now, Mark had said, Stansbury, I know what you're talking about. You go to Michigan, you can get an ounce for $100. Okay, now, I don't have a lot of experience with the Michigan dispensaries. I don't find like I need a reason to go. I'm pretty close to my weed sources. This job kind of gets you introduced to a little bit of every walk of life there is, right? Like, it's just kind of the way that goes. So my pricing's pretty good. But I have heard from plenty of people who are buying in recreational states that they're paying more. Now, again, there's tax money being made there. Jobs are being created with that there. There's a lot going on inside that conversation. Michigan's been recreational for a little while. What that may be with some decent pricing there is an influx of the product. And like, marijuana is going to be like anything else. It is going to run off supply and demand. So if you have too much supply and the demand's not necessarily as high as you thought, get ready to see prices come down a little bit. Now, Oregon's kind of dealt with that too. Again, one of my buddies supplies a good portion of the dispensaries that are legal there. And he'll tell you, he went from, I can't produce this product fast enough to, sometimes we just build a big ass bonfire, we just burn it because it's like, it's just going to go to waste. Like, it's literally just going to go to waste. So we'll see what happens there long form there. And we got it talking about legalization because, again, it's on the ballot on the 7th. Some of you have already voted early and all of that. And Taylor wanted to remind us, it's like, dude, I feel like everybody's forgetting that if legal marijuana passes, you're not just going to be able to smoke it anywhere you want. Employers still reserve the right to drug test and also have the right to fire you for showing up to work high. And I said, well, yeah, just like alcohol. If I show up here hammered drunk, I'm going to get fired. They find out I'm hammered drunk on the air, like, I'm going to get fired for that, right? I expect that. So I don't have a problem with that, right? I am a marijuana proponent. Have been a legalization proponent, but I have often said, here is where you will get more context on this issue than some other places that are just looking to get you to be okay with legalization. I've said it's an intrusive product, marijuana is. And here's what I mean. I just moved, right? And I got great neighbors now, it seems like. I haven't met everybody all the way, but a little like over the fence, like, hey man, how are you? How's this? How's that? Hey, there's a little bit of that. And we all seem to kind of like our backyards come Friday, Saturday night. You know what I mean? I got a fire pit. They got a fire pit next to me. The neighbor over there, they got one, right? Everybody seems to enjoy their backyard space, right? Welcome to America. And we're all out there having a couple of drinks Friday, Saturday night. Why not? And I always said that doesn't bother me. You drinking Jack Daniels on your side of the fence doesn't affect me at all. It doesn't. Unless you get so drunk that you burst through the fence or you walk next door or maybe some loud complaints, noise complaints and things like that, fair. But if I walk outside and I smoke a joint, it does affect you. Can affect you depending on how close you live to your neighbor. Some of you are pretty far apart and you're lucky. But if I'm smoking a joint in my backyard, it's going to waft over into your backyard party. And that's the point of me saying I find it to be an intrusive product, because it is. It's the same reason why cigarette smoking indoors, people are like, you can't do this, you're not smoking, we're all smoking if you smoke, right? It's kind of one of those arguments. And so I understand why people are hesitant. I get it. Absolutely, I understand it. Piper's telling me 16% sales tax on Michigan weed. We'll see what happens here with legalization. I do believe it's going to pass. I've been wrong on this before. I guess we'll find out how smart I am, next week or whatever it is. But I believe, and again, this is coming from a place of privilege where I'm gainfully employed and I make really good money. that I'm okay with the price increase. I really am. Because convenience always costs me more money. A gallon of milk at the grocery store is a lot of money, especially these days. But it's less money than, like, I'm going to sound like 500 years old here, but like 7-Eleven or like a gas station. That's a convenience. You're paying more for said convenience. And so taking one thing from, all right, man, drive there, wait a half hour in this parking lot, he'll show up, he'll give you this, he'll give you that, plus sweat now on the drive home that you're, committing a criminal act, even though in the nation's capital, you're totally allowed to be able to do this, right? That's worth some money to me. How much, I don't know, but like it is worth some money to me to be made more convenient. It's also like the last thing that makes me feel like a little bit of a criminal. Like, I don't really do things I'm not supposed to do anymore, And that's kind of on the list where it's like, dude, I really just wish I didn't have to feel like this so I can relax. Wine with DeWine. Let's get hammered drunk when we hear about the world's deadliest virus. Just drunk as hell learning about that. Wine with DeWine. But if you smoke a joint, you're public enemy number one. Like, this country's conversation about this is absolutely ridiculous silly. Now, I did get asked this because I was talking about how I haven't smoked cigarettes in 11 years. It will be 11 years, January 20th. And somebody asked me, like, well, dude, you smoke blunts, right, though? Like, isn't that cheating on the tobacco? Okay. Yes, if you smoke with a blunt wrap, there is tobacco in those. I don't think it's cheating on the tobacco thing, and here's why. I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day, if not more, when I was unemployed the one time. It was Modern Warfare 2 had come out that year. I smoked 4 packs of cigarettes in a day once while I was unemployed. I thought my life was over. I wasn't Stansbury from MMS anymore, and I thought my life was over. And so I was just playing Modern Warfare 2, huffing down Newports. Like, nobody's been trying to die, if I'm honest. Like, literally trying to die. And I got to like 4 packs a day I was smoking. Now, that wasn't, when I was working and doing stuff, it was more like 2. But the point is, I smoke cigarettes all day, every day. Now, I smoke marijuana more days than I don't. It's not every day, but more days than I don't. And shamefully. But that's not the only way in which I do it. Right? There's a glass piece here. There's a bong there. There's a little bit of this here. I got natural paper here. And every once in a while, yeah, it will be a blunt wrap. So technically, is there some tobacco in there? Sure. I don't view that as me cheating on the no tobacco thing, because if I was still looking for the tobacco end of that, I would only use those. And I don't. So I don't think that's me still getting the tobacco there. I think people who recently quit tobacco and are leaning on that yes, there's a little bit of, still get this in my body. But I would still rather have you do that than smoke the 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I think that is a little bit of a problem. There's more Stansbury Show headed your way next. You just stay right where you are.
The Stansbury Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansbury Show. Tomorrow I'll have more opportunities for WWE's main event. That is November 18th, Canton Civic Center. Pass those out.